by Fox 16 anchor Kevin Kelly. Kevin, hello to you. I'm really looking forward to this story. We were just talking about it a few moments ago. It is a friendly brother competition, but it's actually helping with a cancer fight along the way. And boy, just talking with you a few minutes ago about this and the story that you're going to be able to share tonight is going to provide a lot of inspiration to people, I think. But walk us through the story that folks are going to see tonight on Fox 16 News at 9.
Well, let me first mention, Mitch, we have deadlines when we have to write stories, and usually we have to turn these stories extremely quick. Fortunately, I had some time to tell this story, but it was one of the hardest stories I've ever had to write. And that's because it involved somebody near and dear to my heart, my brother, John, who's 2 years older than I am. He's 58, I'm 56. And it really focuses on the struggles and challenges that he faced after learning that he had bladder cancer, not once, but twice. And this all goes back to a long history of brotherly competitions. Ever since we were little kids, we were always trying to outdo the other, whether it be baseball, football, soccer, tennis, you name it. We were always competing against each other, trying to outperform the other. But it wasn't until we really got into running marathons that things really took off. And I remember completing the Little Rock Marathon in 2007 and calling my brother, of course, to brag, and said, hey, I'm ready to do another marathon. There's one in San Diego in about 8 weeks. Do you want to join me? Now, keep in mind, my brother was completely out of shape, had not run probably 2 miles in the past 20 years. And of course, he said, yeah, I'll accept that challenge. And sure enough, 8 weeks later, he shows up at the start line, and we started running marathons. But then a year later, he found out that he was diagnosed with bladder cancer. And the doctors basically told him that, if it wasn't for all the running and the pounding, you probably would not have discovered the bladder cancer as early as you did. So it's a good thing that it happened when it did, because we were able to discover it early on.
What were some of the more difficult parts about writing the story? I mean, obviously it involves your brother. It involves a story that is more difficult to share than others, I guess.
Yeah, there's that emotional aspect that because you have a true connection to the story, and I know you feel that way with other stories that you write, but when it hits truly close to home, you want to make sure that you capture the true essence of the story, the true meaning of the story, like you do any other story. But when you're talking about someone that you love, somebody that you grew up with, and not only is it a tragic story, but it also is a story with a happy ending. You really want to pour your heart and soul into it, and you just hope that the words surface so that the viewer can make a better connection to the story. And I feel confident that I was able to do that with this story. But it just took a lot longer than I ever anticipated it would.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. Kevin, I know you. I know. I mean, just well. First off, let's pause this video. Which one are you? Are you on the left or the right?
I am the one in the orange and white shirt.
The jumpsuit. So, always running in style, my friend.
We call those tri-suits.
Oh, well.
They're triathlon gear outfits.
Yeah. As you can tell, I have not been in any kind of competition like that.
Oh, come on, Mitch. There's still time, bud.
There is still time. I know you as a journalist and as just a man with so many different values and beliefs, and somebody that truly has integrity. And when it comes to journalism, you by far outsee the expectations of a lot of just journalism standards. And that just goes to your values and your commitment to truth and telling stories. At what point did you say, hey, you know what, I think that this would be a good story because you do know that there's a
Yeah.
lot of times where we're like, okay, we don't want to become the news. We don't want to be the center point. But this story is just so different and brings so much inspiration. When was it that you realized that I want to tell this story?
Well, it's a story that I've actually wanted to tell for quite some time,
Yeah.
but with my brother living in San Diego and me being here in Little Rock, I was trying to figure out the logistics of it. At the time, my brother, with his profession, was traveling all over the world, so trying to hook up for a chance to do the story, to capture it, to get us both together in one spot, to get us together training, was always difficult. And then he spent years in treatment too, so there was kind of a down period where we didn't know what was going to happen next, because there were several times where my brother thought, you know what, this is it, where he had lost hope, where he thought they were going to have to completely remove his entire bladder and his
Mm.
intestines and reconstruct a new one. So there were some scary moments for him, scary moments for us as a family. But like most families do, you sit down, you rally, you pray, and you hope for the best. And so far, things look very promising. But this was an extremely difficult story for a number of reasons. During the first treatment, he was given a drug called BCG, and it's a powerful drug that's injected directly into the bladder and is basically kind of like an acid, where it just goes in and it attacks the cancer, and it is not pleasant, to say the least, according to my brother. And that worked the first time. When the second round of bladder cancer came about, the doctors once again prescribed him BCG, but it didn't work. He had a severe allergic reaction to it. At one point, he was feeling fine, and within a span of just a few minutes, Mitch, he was curled up in a ball in the bathroom floor, thinking he was going to die after just receiving a treatment of BCG. So they had to completely change the game plan, and they prescribed him a different drug called interferon, and it's basically like immunotherapy. And so far, that seems to be working. But this has been a very long struggle for him. And we have very unique ways, as you will see tonight in our story, of celebrating these small triumphs. I'm really pleased with the outcome of the story. And it will give viewers, I believe, a lot of hope in the end.
I hope so, and I know that is always your mission, and you always want to leave the viewer with something. Is that your
Yeah.
goal? Is to leave them?
Yeah, that's the goal of most any story. You want to educate the viewers. You want them to leave them asking more questions. You want them, in some cases, depending on the nature of the story, to feel better than they were earlier in the day. And this is a story that not only educates viewers about bladder cancer, but it also will give individuals who might be experiencing bladder cancer or maybe some other form of cancer to take the necessary steps to get up, get moving, and realize that we can beat this. Here's a perfect example of it, not once but just twice. And so I hope it is an inspirational story, not only to me, as a brother, but hopefully to our viewers as well.
Kevin Kelly, Fox 16 anchor, the brotherly competition, help with cancer fight airs tonight on Fox
Yeah.
16 News at 9. Kevin, I appreciate your time this afternoon. Look forward to seeing your story here later tonight.
And one final footnote, I will say that this all started because of a challenge. Well, there's another challenge that I issued to my brother, a much bigger challenge, and it's probably the most challenging one I've ever laid down for him and me, and he accepted. I'll tell you what it is later tonight.
That's how you're going to leave it, huh?
That's how I'm going to leave it.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah,
Fox 16 News at 9 o'clock tonight. Kevin Kelly, appreciate you, sir.
you bet. Thanks.
All right. Watch Kevin Kelly's story, Fox 16 News at 9 tonight, folks. Until then, we'll see you on Fox 16 News.